And just like that, it's another after show episode. Hi, I'm James Lott Jr. This is the And Just Like That after show here on JLJ Media. We're doing episode 3, When in Rome. Now, before I start, I'm just going to say, I'm trying to get this correctly, that this is going to be spoilers. Spoilers. So I'm not going to post this in the end right now, this first day as I put it out, in the And Just Like That group that I post stuff in HBO Max group. I'm going to wait a few days. But for the rest of you, I'm going to post it out there to the rest of you first. But I'll make sure there's spoilers. I'm talking about the episode. So if you have not watched it, stop now. Do not watch this. Go watch the episode. Come back and watch me. I don't think everybody's been supporting. Tell me they're glad I'm doing the after show. Just tell me my thoughts. I have my notes. I have a little notepad. And just like that notepad. There's actually this notepad's really cute. It's like does this and it just opens up. It's magnetic. And I have my little pad. I love pad. Oh, you can't see it. I love my pads. So I did a couple pages of notes about what I thought. And I'm going to tell you about that. Overall, I'm liking the episodes. The episodes are as flawed as the ones in the original Sex and the City. The episodes are as wonderful as the one Sex and the City. It's gorgeously filmed. They're using New York, which is the I guess now fourth lady or sixth lady or eighth lady or ninth lady. They pick great locations. The cinematography is wonderful. The photography is wonderful. The ladies' fashions are exactly what you expect. I really do feel 3 episodes in, this is like a continuation. See, it's funny. I loved Will and Grace, the reboot. I felt like it was a great continuation until I liked the last season. But the first 2 seasons were a continuation. Same with X-Files when they came back. I liked that was a good continuation where it's like, it's not exactly the first round. It's new, but there's elements that are similar. There's the feeling. I'm watching a new Dexter right now, and it's very different, but there are parts of it that are nods to the former series and the context of Dexter. So I feel like Sex and the City is the same thing. These reboots are very interesting because you're like, you're doing a part 2, but not a part 2 exactly. This does feel like the women how they would be in their 50s. So it just again, I like that. We set it up, and it's after Big's funeral, and they throw us a wrench. It's very Sex and the City. Natasha. Now, we saw from the previews, Natasha's going to be in the season somewhere. I didn't realize it was going to be this episode. And I'll tell you, this whole Natasha thing has always been one of Carrie's messiest moments. Carrie, see, for me, Carrie's my least favorite character, obviously, of the show, actually. I think the other 3 girls are I'm more into them. And I don't think Carrie's that good of a friend. Hopefully she's learned. We'll see how it goes now, but she seems a bit self-absorbed, even though, I feel like that's kind of premise. It's Carrie and her friends. But I think now at this point, it's completely now the friendship. I think when you're losing Samantha, losing Samantha not being there, losing Big, hopefully it'll become more of a, help evolve Carrie. But by showing us that some things still linger and last is very smart. And to revisit one of her messy moments and for it to feel like it's a karmic slap was dead on. Carrie spiraling out of control was dead on. All of that was so spot on. It was just completely, I completely get it. I just thought she is somebody who gets that she gets into her head and spirals down. So the will has Natasha's name on it, and that Big left money for her. As she's trying to figure out if her and Natasha have been talking for it's so classic Carrie. I don't think that my notes classic Carrie. For her just to go down this rabbit hole. He talks to her, he's talking to her, what's going on for the finished business. She finds his wallet and there's a picture of a dog from 1985. And she's like, I didn't know about this dog. She finds a number in his jacket as the landline, which made me laugh because I'm like, I have a landline too, and you can't see it's over there somewhere. I have it just in case. Couldn't tell you the number. I always have to dial it out to my phone, and then I know, oh, it's my number. That's my number. Whatever. But then also there was a human element about that too, where when someone dies, I have people die on me, that you find out a few things. How well do you know your person while they're alive, whether it's a parent, kid, partner, best friend? Like, how well do you know them? And I always feel like there are certain things you don't know everything, like every single thing. And the things she found out, like the dog, was nothing bad, but she never mentioned it. And also, you never know what people mention or don't mention in their lives, like what's important for them to mention, what's not important to mention. As you get older, there's so much more to talk about. Like there's things I'm sure you leave out, not for any reason at all, or maybe a specific reason you go, I don't want to talk about it because that's part of the past. So her stalking Natasha, it's funny. Her going to the thing, seeing Natasha walk into her building, then the chick goes, she's in Rome. I laughed. They see her in the mirror, in the window, looking at and actually very smart, because Second City is good at this too, having her looking down at Carrie, and Carrie feeling like lower than her for some reason. She had such stuff going on there. I thought cinematically that was smart. Thematically that was smart. So he did that. But then eventually, which was a classic Six City, she walks in there on the bathroom toilet. And they're in the Upper West Side, and there is Natasha. And Natasha goes off on her at first, which is like, she deserves that. That was her long-awaited thing to do. But then they end up talking it out. Because Carrie had coffee, and she burned coffee in her hand. And Natasha reveals she has 2 kids, one with low blood sugar, and she carries stuff in her purse and put ice on her hand. And they said sorry to each other. It was decades-long tension that literally they dissolved it. And I thought that actually is very cool for the series. For them, it was like they closed a chapter. Bridget Moynihan, of course, is great being back on the show. And I thought, that's great. They literally are like, they're letting that chapter go now. And like in life, that does happen, right? You go, oh, okay. I mean, it's like you let it go at some point. And it's like, this is really good. So I thought, okay, that's great. That chapter is done. She didn't know why he was leaving her money either. Natasha didn't know why either. So there's nothing secret. They got in, nothing secret was going on. And like everybody kept saying, you and Big were the happiest, which is such an ironic thing from the original series, right? That Big and Carrie were the happiest before he died. They were good. They were solid. They were good. The irony got lost on there. So I thought good solid episode about that, about forgiveness and everything. So now here's the deal. When it comes to the other storylines, we have also Carrie's side storyline, her podcast, and how she did very well with the zingers. I love the character, I do. I think Sarah Ramirez is doing a phenomenal. She's a revelation. She's a revelation on the show. I was like, wow. I didn't watch Grey's Anatomy or anything, so I don't know that. But on this show, she is like so good. And playing a stand-up comedian, she looks like a natural. Her whole speech, well, kind of stand-up routine about trans, binary, bisexual people was really powerful and funny. And it hit Charlotte for her storyline. It hit Miranda for her storyline. Carrie just was able to laugh. I thought that's what Sex City does really well too. They do these scenes really well, and that was good. But the character, just like her and Bobby Lee, those two, like, I mean, they're hilarious, and it's vulgar. It's the Sex and the City of and just like that. So it's the sex part basically. We don't have Samantha, so there are pieces of sex in there with Brady and his girlfriend, with her, with Chain, all that stuff, and it was very interesting to see that. But Carrie's trying to loosen up. I thought that's realistic also. Realistic. The scene with Stanford and Charlotte surprised me, and I'm so happy they did it. I'll tell you why. One, I don't know how many more episodes we have of Willie Garson, who plays Stanford, because I saw on The View and also on Stephen Colbert when Cynthia Nixon, who plays Miranda, and Chris Davis, who plays Charlotte, talked about him. And they got really teary-eyed and it was really heartfelt. But they didn't know he was sick until they found he was sick. And when he was first filming, they didn't know. And I think this will be happening for 3 episodes. This is the 3rd episode. So I don't know if it's 3 or not. Hopefully it's more. But they said he had a chance to reconcile with them as he was passing. So happy to hear that. He's very much a part of Sex and the City. And I always thought Anthony, which is Mario Cantone, hilarious, was Charlotte's best gay friend. Stanford was Carrie's, but Carrie and Stanford go way back. And Charlotte sometimes over the years, I've noticed in the original series, brushed him off a little bit. Like the girls were the most important. I know they kind of played at the four women, right? But Stanford's very important to Carrie. That they have a long history. And just like in real life, you can have more than one best friend. It's not, you can have best friends for different purposes, but occasionally you gotta get together. And when Charlotte was a little mean to him, like, it's only enough for me and the girls, that's it. He says it. He says, I'm gonna say after all these years, you don't think I'm part of the inner circle. I talked to my therapist about you. I thought I'm so glad, because I always thought every once in a while in the original series, they would do that to him. Like, they only allow Stanford in certain things. I was like, but Stanford is a part of her. It's also a part of her long past in New York. We all have those friends. And I'm glad they acknowledged that. But Charlotte's storyline, very interesting storyline, making Rose seemingly either non-binary or trans. She says that she doesn't feel like a girl ever. Now, I don't know how I felt the scene where Charlotte goes to Anthony felt a little just gratuitous. I mean, he has this hot hunks business of bread or whatever. That part of the storyline doesn't grab me. I'm just like, okay. It just seems too stereotypical. Or so, I don't know. I'm thinking I don't know. It just I don't know if it bugs me. It just doesn't sit. I mean, it's not my favorite part of the series. I was like him. I don't know, these buff guys and doing bread or whatever. That's fine. But I think Anthony's funny. I love Mario Cantone. I think he's hilarious as Anthony. But that conversation about he didn't seem, he didn't seem sensitive enough. I mean, he was like, "I'll be there for you, of course," and we'll go through. She's just a kid, blah blah. Which I guess is a response that could happen. But it was the Che talking about it on stage that hit the right notes for me and for Charlotte. But that whole scene, it's like we gotta give a scene to Anthony. It just felt, I don't know, it felt forced. It wasn't a good scene to me at all. But she has to deal with that will be very interesting to see. Charlotte, of course, of all the people, the prim and proper girl, she has that in Lily, but not in Rose. I think that part's kind of smart. So we'll just see what this journey is for her. And it's very modern tale. Then we have the Miranda one. We got pieces of that, and the fact that her and Steve have this whole elaborate, it looks like fun, dessert ritual, and they watch TV shows, streaming TV shows, and it does seem realistic. They've settled into domestic bliss. She reveals though they have not had sex in years. They're just basically like roommates. I have friends, I'm not going to name them or out them, who are going through similar situations in long-term relationships, and I'm curious if this is a story of, because that whole speech, that whole stand-up hit her too about change, get out of her box. Will it be her becoming a lesbian or bisexual, or will it be a experimentation and lead her back to Steve, where it'll be stronger than ever? I'm very curious to see what her journey is going to be. But I'll tell you, that whole scene at the club, yes, when she shotguns the weed in her mouth, very sexy, very hot, and very deep. They slowed it down, and they were right there. They didn't kiss or anything, but it was a close moment. You can see Miranda's feeling something. I don't know if Shay is, but Miranda totally certainly felt it, a shift. So maybe you see what her shift is going to be on this. I think it'll go a little further later. But I think her storyline is very interesting. You know, that Steve, it seems realistic. It seemed like it would happen. And so I'm like, sounds good. I'm totally in there. Make sure, did I miss anything? Oh yeah, and Natasha back to that storyline. She's refusing the money as we get back. I thought it was kind of cool, get a charity. And I guess at the very end, which I thought was very cool, Carrie goes back to her apartment with Big, but it's just too much. And she walks, and I guess it must be nearby, walks to her old place and says, and just like that, I walked myself home. And so it's her old apartment. So it's back to the old apartment. I'm here for it. I'm all about it. So I think it was good. I think I like it. I don't know how many episodes it's going to be or how long it's going to be. It was every Thursday. But I really enjoyed this episode. And I thought we had some closure, some stuff opened up. Story possibilities are happening. And I think it's almost an hour or whatever. Like it went on for a while. It was longer than a half hour. I'm just like, it went by fast. They packed a lot in. It went by fast. So that is, and just like that on HBO Max. Go ahead and if you want to see if you have HBO Max, you should check it out. If you like Sex and the City, it's a fun chapter. It has made me want to watch some of the old episodes of Sex and the City. Kind of, I guess that's part of the point. But it's great. I liked it. I liked the episode. I want to thank the groups, Facebook groups. Let me post this in their Facebook groups. Thank you very much. Thanks to anybody who watches this and comments. I'm James Lott Jr., JLJ Media on YouTube. This is an audio. This is a video only audio. It's a video only show. No audio to this. Just a video only right now. So subscribe. Check it out. Pass it on to anybody who's a fan. And of course, please take care of yourselves. And we'll see you next Thursday.